everyone, it's Janice from Libre de Fleur. I thought I'd get on today and do a little Technique Tuesday or whatever video about how I go from just a stack of fabrics to making one of my very popular items, the patchwork Minky blanket. The sewing and quilting on this is relatively uncomplicated, so it's a great place to start. I have a full tutorial breaking the whole thing down for you on this channel. I will link it for you in the description box. But it's basically a bunch of curated fabrics, not all from the same collection. I really don't like to just go with something off the shelf. I think that's just like too easy, although you can do that if you're a beginner and you're not really confident with your fabric selections. But that's what we're going to talk about today. Like, how do you get comfortable combining a bunch of different fabrics and getting the look and feel you want. So this is the Wonderment blanket that I have up in my shop right now. You can see it is made of 5.5-inch squares, and I just lay them all out in rows, and then I sew them all together, and then I lightly kind of quilt them to the soft Minky back. And all of that is covered in detail in the tutorial for how to make the Minky blankets, which I also have a blog post if you prefer to read or follow along step by step. So I will link both down below so you can learn how to make these wonderful blankets. You can do it in any size. Of course, the larger you go, the more fabric you'll need, but they're wonderful gifts for children or newborn babies. So I just think that they're the perfect jumping off point if you want to learn how to quilt and sew, because it's all of the basic beginner steps. So how do we go from just a stack of fabric, or you're online and you're looking through things and you're thinking, okay, like, where do I even start? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. So first of all, I kind of usually want to start with a story. So what's the story or the theme or the interest that you want to talk about for the mountains quilt, the Misty Mountains, or Wonderment? It's kind of like a woodland. A lot of mine are woodland. I really like that theme. And then the jumping off point is like colors of mint and like woodland patterns. What would you see in the woods, right? So you would maybe start with this fabric that I believe I got at Hobby Lobby. So it's mountains, it's got little paw prints and pine trees. And then I have one where there's a barn and some deer are introduced, and you're kind of sticking with those colors. Now you can see there's the dark mint, the aqua, grays, and a mustard for a splash of color. And then I went with this beautiful art gallery, like watercolor print. It kind of reminded me of like water on the on a pond or mountainscape painting. And then you're getting a little bit of that corally color introduced. Then I went and I found another art gallery. Art gallery is one of my favorite manufacturers of fabric. They're beautiful to touch. The colors are always pure, great quality. Highly recommend that. This is a splatter print. I believe that's out of print now, but I had bought like a ton of it at one time. So you're just kind of using a jumping off point or a story or a theme, and then those colors, and keeping your color story in mind as you pull different fabrics. So for this one, we're going to talk about a blanket that will be for my daughter. Now, she is a preteen, and she's kind of transitioning her room over from like a more juvenile look to a more sophisticated look, which is a perfect time to make and invest in fabrics for your children whenever they're kind of changing, and it's more into something that will stay with them over a longer period of time, because quilt fabric can get kind of expensive. So to get started, we looked for some floral prints. She doesn't want anything too juvenile. She wants something that's very sketchbook inspired, watercolor. That's the stuff that she's into. She's an artist herself. So we kind of started with two different floral fabrics that we really liked. Again, they're from Art Gallery Manufacturing, fabric company. They're Ecotech certified, which I love. Premium cotton, really, really soft. If you haven't checked them out, I would highly recommend it. This is from the Spirited collection by Sharon Holland. And I love Sharon Holland's work. She is such a great artist, a wonderful textile designer, and her prints are just amazing. These are both actually from her, from Sharon. This is the Bookish line, a floral from that line, and they have kind of a similar color. And what I like with working with one manufacturer is it does make it easier to color match, because if you're matching from one manufacturer, then generally they're going to use the same color palette. It makes it really easy to know that anytime you kind of see this darker coral or like rust color, they're going to match the aquas and so on and so forth. So that makes it easy. So for this collection, I ordered both, but when they got here, I'm really leaning more toward this floral that's more of the wildflowers as our jumping off color palette and our inspirational floral. So now as I pull the rest of the prints, and as I was looking for them online, it's kind of hard with a screen, like a computer screen, like the color value can vary. But like I said, if you're sticking within a manufacturer, even if you're not sticking within the collection, you're almost guaranteed that the dye colors will match. Although it's not, you know, you can get away with a little bit of things being off. I just try to keep them like very similar if you can, just because it makes it look more harmonious. And even as you blend different designs together, it kind of, you know, it makes everything work together and talk to one another. And that's kind of what you want to be thinking about. So there, from that, we wanted to have a little bit more floral. So we went with a more spread out one. And this has the purple and the mustard and the dark coral color, but it's a lot lighter in value. The print itself is more spaced out, so that adds depth of interest there just by having these two. And then there's a cream floral and the cream background in this one. Then to get a little bit more of the painterly effect in our floral, we went with another print from Art Gallery. This one is from the Velvet Collection by Amy Simbaldi. And it has a lot more of that painterly touch to it, right? Doesn't it look like you've just taken your brush and you've made these very impressionistic florals, but the colors are still the same, and it's still talking about that flower theme and enhancing that theme of the florals there. And then that is almost it. We have one more from Amy Simbaldi that is from the Angles collection and her dollhouse prints. And this one is just a leaf and kind of twig print in the very soft like mint and teal families. And that is a little bit kind of bridging the gap between these two, right? So it's a little bit more impressionistic. It's a little bit more spaced out. Instead of being a flower, it's a leaf. So we're kind of covering all of the different things here. We're still staying within the same basic colors. We're picking up these violets, the blues, the aquas, the mints, and the peachy colors, as well as like the mustards and the rusts in all of the things that we're having here. So we're kind of spreading those colors out across all of these different prints, but in different ways. So each one brings their own interest to what we're building here, but they're all continuing to communicate to one another. Okay, then branching off of that, we have a faux bois, so like a fake wood look. And this one is not from Art Gallery. It's a Wyndham fabric. It's called Foxwood by Betsy Olmsted. They also make nice Ecotech certified fabrics I really love. And this one is a great peachy tone wood grain. So is it a complete exact match? I mean, it's pretty close. I don't think that you would look at that and think that it was off in color. How do you guarantee that? Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you're just going to buy stuff and later you won't like it together. Kind of like I bought this floral, although it looks wonderful with these too. I mean, I could have gone in that direction. I think, you know, you want the colors to harmonize. They don't have to match. You know, they don't have to be matchy-matchy. That's not what you want. You want harmony. So think of it like that, and I think you'll find yourself a lot happier and you'll take some of the pressure off. So then moving away from all of the floral prints, we've got our nice florals represented. That's a big part of our theme. But then we also just wanted some geometric things. I usually love to add just geometric prints. We went with this really nice, bold Maureen Cracknell print. I'm not sure what this one is called. It's from Garden Dreamer. Beautiful sort of triangle pattern on this nice saturated orangey deep peach background. Love that color. It's bringing in a nice saturation of color that we didn't really have represented before, but we do have here in these flowers. So again, that's something you want to think about also as you're working. You want to represent all of the colors more than once so that nothing feels left out, but you want to do it in different saturation levels. So we're having like the peach is in the background, the peach is in the foie. We have the peach and the brighter orange coral colors in the flowers. Now we have it here in this one as well. Now we have a softer pink, and this is the kind of in between. So it's bridging that gap between all of these colors. You can see that it's blending everything together. It pulls it through. This is also an art gallery, and let me see. This is called Deco Stitch Elements. These are great. If you're looking to build up your quilterly stash, I highly recommend the Art Gallery Elements collections. They're just wonderful for doing that, adding more to your collection. So now we have all of our peachy colors, all of our girly things, our very floral prints. They're all represented, beautiful. And now we wanted to add a little bit more of those blues. So again, we went with an art gallery. This one's also Maureen Cracknell from her Soulful collection. And it is going to start tying together some of our blues with our corals. So that's what this print does, as well as the cream. Now it's combining them in another way, and it's bringing through a little bit more saturation of the aqua colors. And then on top of that one, we have this darker blue represented. This is again Maureen Cracknell. This is from her Garden Dreamer collection. And it has this nice darker blue, more pure like powder blue color that's there. It's kind of pulling together different values. This one's just more of a solid one color tone, just with the white a little bit. It gives, you need to also think of places for the eye to rest. So like this pattern is very busy, you know, and then like this one would be maybe considered more busy, and your floral over here would be maybe considered more busy. But then we have some that are more soft and more quiet, single tones, places for our eyes to rest as they bounce around through all of the colors. So then we have a little bit more of a geometric. This is the another one of their elements. This is Squared. I love Art Gallery Squared. They come in so many colors. They're full range of palettes. Grab them. You won't be sorry. Just a great basic that combines with all kinds of styles too. This one is again in that like powdery blue color. And then I have one that I picked from my own stash that I got a while ago. I don't even remember where I got it. It's again a Wyndham. And it is from the Botany by Kelly Ventura, which I'm not sure if you can find this one anymore, but we needed a little bit of an anchoring color. So something that is a little bit of a darker gray, and this one happens to have every single one of our colors on a gray background with this little tiny dot. Again, it's like very painterly the way that it's laid out, so it brings in this whole feeling. And now we're spanning across all kinds of collections, all kinds of time. We're making a truly individual piece because we're not working from just one stack that someone else pulled for us. Although that's fine if you really prefer to just work with a collection. They certainly sell those. Here is a Free Spirit bundle I have of Tulip Pink. There would come all combined for you, all the color choices. They'd have the same feeling. You wouldn't have to worry about matching on that. But where's the fun? And the more you do this, the better you'll get at playing with it. So just try to think of things that harmonize, that kind of tell the same story. And here's where we deviate from that just a tiny bit. My daughter also, like I said, we're kind of going with a sketchbook theme, so kind of floral sketchbooky. So we introduced this great Heather Givens from Wyndham. This is called Pencil Club, and I just really love the little sketchy pencils, and they're representing the drawing aspect. So we have some things that are representing more the painterly aspect and some prints that are representing more the sketchbook aspect. And to that point, we have the Sharon Holland Books print from her latest collection, which is again bookish. And I love this one. It's nice and soft. It just gives you that impression of books and sketchbooks and reading. It's got that same beautiful cream tone and this soft brown. It's a really great quiet fabric for your eye to rest upon. And then lastly, we did something with a little bit of that waterfall painterly effect to bring that in a little bit more in just another neutral. This is also a Wyndham. It's called Dewdrop. By Whistler Studios. This is a wonderful thing to add to your collection if you just need some neutrals to play with. And so that is adding another neutral element in the cream. So there you have it. These will be all of the fabrics that I'll be cutting up, and then I will be kind of placing them around and bouncing them back and forth through the quilt top to make her patchwork quilt. So here are all of the choices. And I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial. I hope that it helped you kind of think about ways in which you can pull your own fabrics to tell your own stories in cloth. Thank you for joining me. Have a great day.